one of the things our community is missing is financial literacy, right?
Correct.
And if we're at the bottom of a current economic gap, wealth gap, whatever you want to call it, if we're at the bottom now in this current state of currency that we have, you introduce crypto, a currency nobody knows about. I just read an article somebody shared with me. 1 in 10 Americans have no idea what cryptocurrency is. That's probably a larger number within our community.
Correct.
So we're at the bottom of the current economic and wealth gap. What's going to happen when you introduce a new currency that they're already aware of, that they're already taking advantage of, right? You could be skeptical all you want, but you're already spending your money on things that aren't generating any return, right? Granted, there's been a market created with the resale market and consumer goods like Jordans and all these different things, Supreme, some of these brands we know. You're spending your money over there and you see it, but it's just a different game you're playing. So if you introduce crypto, I'm telling you, come over here, play a different game. Crypto has been growing at 200% a year since its inception. It's anticipated to surpass gold. If you put 500 up now, there's no telling you, your 500 can grow 100-fold in the next 10 years. So whether you're skeptical, believe it or not, you've already placed your money in things that
are not giving you a return.
That's not giving you a return. You don't even care. You're putting in those things just to be liked, feel hot, feel good for the now. Man, take that just sacrifice a moment. Take that same $250 you're going to spend on some J's, $500, whatever you're going to spend, put it in some cryptocurrency, think long term, and you're going to progress in the future.
But this is the thing, though, Rob.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to go to Marlon on this. So I totally understand. I understand totally where you're coming from, and I feel where you're coming from. However, if you have to speak to somebody that has no knowledge of how to invest in cryptocurrency or try to engage into procuring some cryptocurrency, what would you tell them? In literal terms.
Well, in literal terms, today is extremely easy. Right. It's much easier than it was 5-6 years ago. You can literally invest in cryptocurrency with your Cash App. Majority of Americans right now are using Cash App. Right. You're already participating. This is what I would tell people. You're already participating in the digital currency boom anyway. Anytime you use PayPal, Cash App, you're already participating in digital currency. Right. The other thing I wanted to say before I really get into this is, Rob and I have been friends since over 30 plus years. Right. So we almost sandbox, friends. And one of the things that has always been important to us from an early age is creating generational wealth. Right. And I believe, so to really get into this, what I consider this moment in time we're experiencing right now, it's like the wild, wild west, right? The wild frontier. The playing field has been leveled. Now you can start from ground zero and get in on this, cryptocurrency boom. This is the next gold rush, right? And so what I tell people is, I look at it in terms of technology. Technology never goes backwards. This is whenever technology is created and invented through innovation, and it shifts culture, it shifts the way business is done, it shifts e-commerce, it doesn't go backwards. Right. Like we're never going back to dial-up, right? We're not going back to, using analog phones and going back to analog
VHS tapes,
CDs. Beta tapes. You move forward. Rob and I were just discussing, we're going to incorporate, cryptocurrencies in everything we do in business.
So you won't hog the whole interview, Mr. Powell. I'm gonna go back to Mr. to Mr. Douglas here, and that's what
I get passionate about this.
No, we talked about this before, and he told me, without telling all your business, he did tell me that you were gonna sell some retail items that you have for sale, probably the stuff you wearing right now.
Yeah.
And you're gonna sell that, and you're gonna use Bitcoin is going to be the
I'm going to make it beneficial to people to purchase in Bitcoin. So for instance, right, and you guys can use this. This is, we like to give away the codes, right?
Absolutely.
So you guys can use this if you weren't thinking. So let's say this hoodie, right? let's say I charge $65 for this hoodie, right? In USD, dollar bills. Let's say I want to offer an incentive to my potential clients to purchase in Bitcoin.
Right.
I'll offer it to them for $50 in Bitcoin if you pay Bitcoin, right? So imagine what that'll do, right? People are always looking for sales, a means to keep more money in their pockets, all these different things. So if I offer you this potential hoodie or this potential product, and I'm offering you a discount, but I just need you to purchase in here, you're purchasing Bitcoin, right? So that helps me. But also from my perspective, it's about enlightening the consumer. If you had no clue of what Bitcoin was, right? Now you have to say, man, I could pay 50 in Bitcoin. Is that cheaper? Now you got to do a little research, right?
Up your
to
financial
find
literacy.
out what is this Bitcoin? How do I get it? How do I exchange my USD for it? And so I kind of want to, I hate to say it, trick people into gaining that knowledge of what's going on.
Yeah.
It's imperative. I could go on and on about this crypto space.
That's important what you're just saying, though, the velocity of money, right? Because the literal definition of currency is the movement of money. Yeah. And money is moving so fast right now in certain platforms that if you're not participating in the movement of money on those platforms, you're missing out. For example, or instruments, for example, your money is not making any money in a traditional savings account. I think we're all aware of that. So instead of parking your money in those instruments or those platforms that's not giving you a return, you want to begin to put those into instruments and platforms that's going to give you a greater return. And Rob does a great job of explaining, the purpose of moving, money from lower performing assets to greater performing assets. And right now, the math is the math. You know what I mean? Numbers don't lie. Bitcoin has outperformed every other market that exists. So that's why you have individuals like Elon Musk. And
see, this guy got the cheat code to the whole interview.
I want to get,
because look, the funny thing, right? I was gonna say that next. I said, I want one of y'all to give me some confirmation.
So, man, I've been studying this thing for like the last 6 months, really, really hard. I'm listening to billion-dollar hedge fund managers, billionaires, macro economic guys. And they're pointing, but we're seeing it now. If you just look at Bitcoin and what's happening, in the last 3 months it's up 203% or more in the last 3 months. But I want to give a real world example, right? I believe it's Singapore. 40 years ago, Singapore was like a third world country. If you watch old kung fu flicks, I'm talking about dirt roads, these little buildings, like log cabin buildings with the, they take their shoes off at the door. This was them 40 years ago. But because of the velocity of money, they decided that they want to stop using cash in their particular currency, right? We don't want to use cash anymore. We're going to use our cell phones to pay for everything. Yeah. Because they decided to use their cell phones and pay with everything digitally on their cell phones, the speed of money sped up.
Right.
So they've been the fastest growing. They were like dirt roads, these little huts, walking, no cars, none of that, to now skyscrapers. They're one of the fastest growing, most advanced civilizations in current times because of the velocity of money and transferring from using paper cash to a digital sense. Pay peer-to-peer, walk in, touch your cell phone. This is the velocity of money.
Yeah.
So crypto, right? USD, dollars. No, who carries cash anymore? I'm on the trains. I'm out in the street. You have homeless people saying, "Man, can I get a little change?" I'm like, "Sorry, brother. I don't even use my.
All I got is Bitcoin, man. All I got is Bitcoin.
I use my credit card for everything.
Really?
I'm
Straight
digital.
Straight up.
So crypto is just the next phase of that.
And look, this is the reason why. And look, forgive me for beating this to death, because
no, we need to.
I'm very adamant about, if you call yourself a smart person, right? If you can't articulate it, if I got a question and you can't really articulate it to me,
right?
I think it's a scam. and look, that is how our people think.
And a lot of people believe that.
You know what I'm saying?
So it's we've talked about this quite a few times.
Marlon, we taking all of our conversations and encapsulating them into this video right here.
Right.
And because really the questions we have amongst each other is the same questions that people on the outside have as well. So that's why we're here. And I'm glad y'all here, man. So as Nori say, continue.
But no, I mean, speaking on the skepticism, there are people who, when it was at $3,000 and $6,000, that was saying it was a scam.
How much was it?
$3,000 a coin and $6,000.
And how much is it now?
58,000. And we
That's
talk
crazy,
about,
right?
Rob and I talk about this all the time. Those same people, when they hit $1 million a coin, they're gonna be like, "Damn, I guess I should have got in."
Yeah.
But that's what happens.
My
too
boy
often.
my boy tells me all the time that somebody he knows tells him, "Oh man, you shouldn't worry about Bitcoin, man. That ship is sailed. You missed the boat on that, right?" No. That's 2 or 3 months ago. And what was it? Like a month ago, wasn't it? Like in the 30s?
It was 28.
20s or something, right?
Yeah. So
and today is 50.
Ago was like 28.
And how much is it today?
Like 57.
57, right?
Maybe
anyway, my fault, man. I cut
but
you
no,
off,
I mean
man.
that's the point. Folks are very skeptical, but that happens too often especially in our community. They see things that doesn't necessarily seem real to them in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes a financial literacy thing. It also becomes we have to have more, a better understanding of technology and have more, also, this may be a different conversation, but more equity in the booming of technology.
That's
we have
right.
to have more ownership in what's happening with blockchain.
Because
blockchain
as you said, the world's going to keep turning with or without you.
Absolutely.
And faster.
I just want to make a point before we continue on, man. For one reason, right? One reason I am very apprehensive about giving people financial advice. I am not a financial planner. I just read a lot of books, and I'm very common sense about where I spend my money, where I invest my money, and that type of thing. Is there anything you want to elaborate on that point?
Yeah, I think it's important that we point that out.
Yeah. I'm definitely not a financial. Again, as I said in the beginning, I introduced myself. I'm a serial learner. Like, I block out hours to learn this stuff, to be able to pass it on to, most importantly, my family and my kids, But I want, like you said, I want to be able to answer questions.
Yeah.
So I study it to get the complex picture, to be able to break it down on a simplistic plane to give it to my people, period.
Yeah.
Yeah. Full disclosure, we're not, financial experts.
We're some dudes sitting around talking about money, future, family,
community,
and one thing, Marlon, I just hijacked the conversation again, but it is my show, so we're gonna because my brother, one of my favorite songs. I mean, I got a lot of them, man. I'm a DJ, but one of my favorite songs is a Jay-Z joint called Legacy.
Mm.
And if you ain't heard it, I'm gonna play it when we get up out of here, man, because I really want you to. It's about legacy, man.
That's it.
What are you doing right now?
That's it.
And how is that going to impact your kids and their children when you probably dead and gone from it?
That's very important. That's very important. So
our history does not start at slavery.
No, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't. Exactly. That's just a window.
Yeah.
But we started off this conversation. You mentioned, we talked about generational wealth, and it's really everything that we talk about and everything that we discuss, and you and I, when we talk on a damn near daily basis, when we're building and stretching each other, it's about the generational wealth. Correct. It's not for the obtaining of wealth for any selfish reasons. It's for our kids and our kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The scripturally, we're supposed to be setting up, an inheritance for our kids.
Right.
So that we don't, I believe the three of us started from scratch. I don't want my kids to, get out here in the real world and have to start from ground zero. I want them to have some leverage, and more importantly, not just, physical or monetary leverage. I want them to have intellectual leverage.
Correct.
Because what I've learned, I heard someone, I think it was T.D. Jakes, I heard him say, if you leave more to your kids than you leave in your kids, they're going to just blow through it and mess over it anyway.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you sowing into them intellectually and spiritually just as much as you are, physically and monetarily.